This weekend I was at the Hellstorm GT, a great event hosted by Mikey and the gang at Hellstorm Wargaming. The venue, Sanctuary Gaming Centre, was lovely, really nice space, well looked after, great tables and a great coffee shop. The crowd was excellent, and as a first timer to that gaming centre, I felt really welcome. I'll definitely go again. The format was 5 games using the Tempest of War cards, and I thought that was a great way to play. Each turn you pick secondary objectives, and that makes each turn quite tactical and different as you really have to plan things out. You may have watched my video where I talked about my list, so here are a few highlights from the weekend. Hunter-killer missiles did nothing. My D6 artillery was so swingy and unreliable. Terminators with armour of contempt, saving on a 2+, are horrible. Most of the time you're hoping to get 6s to hit, but actually it turns out that most of the time you're hoping for them to get 1s to save. Deep striking my Hades breaching drill with combat engineers did nothing. The Death Riders were quite resilient with 3 wounds, 4+ save and 5+ feel no pain. But that was the most they did all weekend, was just not die very quickly. I'll now do a quick rundown of my games. First game was a loss to Imperial Knights at a score of 77-32. I placed 3 objectives and being too kind, I put one of them in the middle to be nice, but this was just a silly mistake. I did go first, but my shooting really whiffed. My target priority was the Armigers because of their speed and obsec, but I didn't even take out one. It was Dawn of War deployment, so it didn't really take them long to get across the board to me. Knights are fast and deadly in all phases and can't be tied up. I just didn't have the firepower to dent them. In the end, I think my conscripts did most damage to the Knights. It was difficult to hide the Basilisk and Manticore once they went, then all my shooting was basically wounding on 6s. My Knight did survive the first turn of shooting, but only on 3 wounds. It then fell to Overwatch on a charge. There was a feel-bad moment during my second turn charge phase. I had my Knight and a Hades drill lined up for charges against Knights. I charged my Knight first just because I was excited. He had a strat to allow him to heroically intervene from the Knight near my drill, so he escaped that charge and essentially left it to have nothing to do for the rest of the game. There was some dodgy interpretation of that rule played and some dubious use of a relic that I don't even think exists. An auto-hitting Gatling gun? This was in fact the gun that took out the Knight in Overwatch. So out of interest, if you heroically intervene, can you also Overwatch with that unit? Regardless of this, the result wasn't really in doubt, and I had fun anyway. Game 2 against Craft Wheels was a win with points of 96-47. I've not played Craft Wheels before, but I went first and had some really good shooting against all their stuff that was out of line of sight. It was a shock to face up against shuriken cannons with the auto-wounding 6s. Basically, my guard tripped back at me. Also, every unit seemed to move loads, shoot and then disappear again. I can imagine without good indirect fire, that would be a nightmare. There was some dubious measuring going on and forgetting to decrement the CB counter, but nothing too critical as it turned out. Fun game and my first win for the guard. Game 3 against Dark Angels was a loss of 95-70, but I was actually quite happy with this score in the end. I played Dark Angels lots and obsec, transhuman terminators with armour of contempt and an apothecary to heal and bring one back is horrible. Lengthways deployment helped me stay away from the Terminators as long as possible. I managed some tricky deep striking to cause some distraction and trouble, but just couldn't kill enough Terminators. And the ones that I had killed kept coming back with the Apothecary each turn. I'm not quite figured out how to deal with this yet. More to come. Game 4 against Death Guard Terminus S-Force was a loss of 95-55. Death Guard went first, and while they were slow, Dawn of War deployment helped them out. Also, he had the 3 objectives on his side, and it was a big struggle to take them back. Again, it was Terminators. Obsec, 3 wounds, Armour of Contempt, 2+ save, 4+ invuln, and because the Death Guard -1 damage, they were so durable. Not to mention the extra buffs that can be loaded onto big blobs through psychic powers. He managed to neutralise my Knight with psychic powers. The 2 killer ones were -2 AP off all attacks from the Knight, and then it was only allowed to charge if it was within 6 inches. Actually, the most damage I did was when my Knight exploded. Lessons learned, I should have taken out the Poxwalkers as my target priority. It would have been easy to remove most of them, and then that would have meant they would have to leave some good units back to defend objectives. I still had loads of my army left, just wasn't able to score the points. Good game as well. In the last game, White Scars was a very close game and a win for me with 95-85. White Scars went first and had 3 objectives as well, so placed them essentially in a castle at the back. The first turn was to bring out the Gladiator tank and punish my conscripts, but to be honest that whiffed. My first turn of shooting whiffed too, but at least I took out that tank. It did mean that things of mine were out in the open, but my Knight survived a turn of shooting from Eradicators and Hellblasters. I also had Flamestorm Aggressors and Inceptors in my back lines, causing some melee threat. And actually, Aggressors melee is scary. I then had a great turn deleting most of the units who were in my lines. Super close game, great objective played by opponents to keep denying me primaries, but it came down to the last turn. As I tabled him, I took a points victory. Really love the event, hope you like this roundup. Let's discuss further in the comments, and see you again soon. Bye.